Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Clark. Thank you, my friends in the back. I'll introduce them to you later. They came to cheer me on and to help make sure this goes really smoothly. So if I ask for volunteers, it'll be my friends on the back row, and they have to speak up every single time. Hey, I want to get an idea real quick, just who's in the room, and then I'm going to get into my content, what I'm going to be talking about, a little bit about who I am. But I want to know the most important thing in all of human communication is two things. So there's not one thing. There's two things that are vital to human communication, and that is understanding who you're talking to, right? And then knowing what are the right words to use in order to connect with who you're talking to. Video, photo, graphics, all the other marketing things, they don't matter. It matters who you're talking to and what words you use to talk to them, okay? I just need you all to agree with that. If you don't agree with that, it's 11:30 and you can leave. It's not going to be a fun session because the whole crux of what I'm going to be talking about today is people emotionally connect with other people through words. That's not even in my notes. But that's what human communication is. I can't even say the word this morning, so I apologize. Human communication is about emotionally connecting with other people through words. And if you want to talk about event content, which I'm going to talk to you about today, that's the foundation of the conversation. So what do you do is my first question. I want to know who's in the room, just to get a general idea. If you're in marketing at some level, raise your hand. Oh, I figured almost everybody would be. If you are a content creator, meaning you use a piece of technology like this, including this, to make content, raise your hand. You make content. Awesome. That's good to know that I'm in with some fellow content creators. For those of you who don't use a piece of technology to make content, and you just use your brain, which is a piece of technology, the most incredible thing God's ever put on the earth, raise your hand if you're a strategist and you're a thinker and you tell content creators what direction to go in. Who's on that side? Okay, great. There's some of you in here in the room. I get the pleasure of doing both because of my role at my company, but it's really fun to help creators think and also the strategists and the leaders think, and how to bring them together comes back to human emotion and connection and words. And a lot of times the creators have a creative ego, you know who you are, and you focus way too much on the content you're creating and how beautiful and polished and sexy and perfect it is. And then the thinkers over here are thinking all about money and perception and the business and how good it looks and it's going to make you look in your role to make more sales or increase your attendance. And you forget that there's this ebb and flow between both the creator and the thinker, the strategist. That's not to say creators don't think. Okay, I sit on both sides of this, and both groups think a lot. One more category, just you're an event planner and you're trying to figure out who to hire and bring in when it comes to great event content. If you're not a strategist when it comes to marketing or a content creator, just event planner, raise your hand. Cool. Oh, wow. Cool. There's a good mix of, those are the three categories I'm kind of curious about this morning. Okay, my name's Clark. I run a company called Reverb, RVRB. I'll explain a little bit about what Reverb means towards the end of the session today, but thank you for trusting me and thank you for being here. We're doing all of the social and hype recap content for Cvent. This is our third year doing it, and so if you see things on the Cvent Instagram account or LinkedIn that looks like it's from the brand account, we probably produced it. And I'm so grateful that they've trusted us to do that. It's a lot of fun. It's very high pressure because I'm around a lot of great people that are really smart and understand events really well. But our specialty is the event. So we make content for great events. We're a visual content partner for brands that have great events. These are some of the clients that trust us. My friends in the back of the room that I mentioned at the very beginning who are going to be my volunteers all day are on this list. The screens in the back, and they are the third from the top and it's kind of in the middle, Delta Airlines. And it's good to have my friends here from Delta. NCR, Amazon Global Leadership Summit. We do a lot of NASCAR races, which is tons of fun and energy. Cvent is of course, one of our clients. MPI, anybody a part of MPI? Nobody in this room is part of MPI. I've met so many MPI people here, Meetings Professionals International, great organization to pay close attention to. They have great events as well. And we love going to events that have a human emotion, and we love to capture it and amplify it. And often we do that through great words and great messaging with the client. So these are some of the people we serve, and we're going to get back to today's topic, the Event Professional's Guide to Great Social Content. First thing I want you to do is get out your phone, This is a learning opportunity for everybody. It's actually an exercise. It's not learning. You're all going to be like, oh, duh, I already know this when you start doing it. But I want you to get out your phone. I want you to go to your favorite social platform. And we're going to do a 60-second exercise. And I just want you to feel free, for no judgment zone, to scroll your social. And I want you to pay attention to what you stop at and what you don't stop at. So go to your favorite platform. Instagram probably is mine, but if it's LinkedIn for you professionals out there who don't waste your time on your phone, I'm sure LinkedIn, you're only doing professional things and meeting and connecting and responding to all the spam messages. But go through your phone. I want you to see what you're stopping at and what you're scrolling past. What are the things? So imagine you're in your hotel room or you're at coffee or you're on a bus. Just imagine you're in your safe spot right now. I know it doesn't feel perfectly safe, but you're in your safe spot. What are you stopping at? I want you to just take note for 60 seconds. We're about 30 seconds in. What are you stopping at? And what are you scrolling past? Don't tell anybody. It's a real-time analysis. I want you to pay close attention. About 15 more seconds. Okay, nice work. I don't want you to go around, we're not going to go around the room and tell everybody why you stopped, because it's a very personal thing. It's very personal to where you are in your life, what's important to you today, what you care about, what you don't care about, because something you might not have stopped at this morning, you might have stopped at last night, depending on the headspace and the environment and what was going on in your life at that time. So we can't go around the room because it would take forever and everybody's answers will be different. But in this moment right now, there were reasons why you stopped. There were reasons why you engaged. For me, on a Saturday morning, it's basketball content because I want to train my little 9-year-old how to be a better basketball player. And I will stop and I will watch. And then the algorithm, what does it do? It just starts feeding me basketball content. I'm like, where did all this come from in the internet? Like, it wasn't there yesterday, because yesterday it was, I don't know, airplanes. I'm a pilot and I like flying airplanes, and it is just, if I start to watch one airplane video, all of a sudden the airplanes come up. If I start to watch one basketball video, it starts to come up. But the point is, the platform, as most of you, but some of you don't, the platforms are designed to see what you're interested in, what you're connecting with on an emotional or intellectual level, and it's just going to supercharge that. Gary Vaynerchuk, who most of you know, has been saying, well, I think we might need to stop calling it social media, and it's more interest media than it is social media. I go back and forth on that because I think he's right. The platforms are gonna ship you what you're most interested in because it will hold your attention. But I still believe, I'm holding on to hope, that the platforms still offer a really good space for emotional connection with your attendees and your brands. And I don't think Gary is saying you can't do that, but I don't want you to think it's just about intellectual content you need to create for your audience. The examples I'm going to show you in a minute from Cvent that we've done, there's an emotional piece. And I think as you stop and you watch some of the emotional content in your feed, I mean, how many of you have watched a video in the last couple of hours or days or so that you watched it because it made you laugh, or it made you cry, or it made you just feel something, right? It's a pretty good chunk of us. I would probably say there's maybe a 50-50 or a little bit less of a chance that intellectually you're like, ooh, that's a factor. If you're sitting there and you're just filling your brain with knowledge, I don't know that it's as attractive. But I think if you did an analysis on the stuff you just stopped at for a minute, you probably felt a heart tug about something. For my son, the basketball piece. The reason I stop on basketball is not because I love basketball. I do, but it's because I want to connect with my son. So when I watch that piece of basketball content that helps me train him and helps me raise him up as a better basketball player, I'm actually feeling something like, ooh, I want to watch that because my son and I will connect more if I'm able to show him that. And so a lot of the content you're consuming has a fundamental piece, and that's human emotion. And where did I say at the beginning the human emotion and connectivity come from? Words. Words are the things that drive human motion. And so I wanted you to take a look at that for a second. Thanks for doing that exercise. Let me get my notes back up on the screen here, and I'll keep going. You did that. Okay, so here's the tension. If you're hosting an event, you're working an event, you've been charged with creating great event content for whatever event you're working. If you had a choice, the tension of creating fun, relatable, or inspiring moment for me, it's for Cvent this week, versus an unrelatable, boring, salesy recap from Cvent Connect this week. Which one are you hopefully going to choose? You're going to choose the funny, relatable, inspiring moment from Cvent. The problem is, I haven't seen your events, but I watch event content every single day. And most event content is horribly salesy, boring, doesn't make sense, and it's usually just a sizzle piece of music with images. And guess what? It looks nothing. Guess what? You can't tell the difference between any event. Like, you look at event content, you're like, is that conference, that one in Nashville or the one in San Antonio this week? And it's oftentimes very hard. And I want to help everybody in this room go away from that and go towards the things that connect with the attendees that are here at Cvent or your event and the attendees you want to attract to your next event. And if it looks like every other event, you're going to have big problems. If my audio works well, yeah, I know it will. You got Clarity's doing an amazing job back there in the back. Give it out for Clarity. Appreciate Clarity. I'm going to give you four or five pieces of content that we've created in the last 2 days. And I just want, before I get into the how of how I want you to create content, I want to show you some examples so you can refer back to these. And at the end of me showing you them, if there's any comments or feedback and you're like, that one really connected with me, I want to open the door for you to stop me in the middle of this and ask me questions. I know we have about 3 million watching online. Is that what you told me? Thank you. Thank you. Let me show you some examples of content and we'll, it's a terrible joke. So that video was made with this little Pocket Go DJ, I don't even know what it's called, I forget. It was made with this piece of content, made with this camera, a couple $100, and it was edited in about 30 minutes. And there were words in the music, and there was emotional connection. And what was the theme of that video? Does anybody know? Like, it wasn't this disco rodeo, it was what? The attire and the fun we were doing. And sometimes you have to remember, like, when we ship a video to Cvent or whoever our client is, the words in the post itself will say, check out some of our outfits from last night, that kind of thing. So the words don't always have to be in the video. Sometimes they are in the post. But we're a big believer in words, as you'll see in some of these other videos, but also that human connection. That did not feature Cvent at all, except for the logo at the very end, right? It was all about the user, the attendee. This video hasn't been posted yet, so don't say anything about it. But this is last night at the Excellence Awards. And again, I told the host, I said, I don't care about Cvent. I care about how you feel about your attendees. I just want you to tell us why we're doing the Excellence Awards and why people should pursue the Excellence Awards. That's all I told him. That's all I prompted him to do, and I shot it with this as well. So let's watch this really quick.
Let me tell you about tonight. We got the Excellence Awards. This is where we celebrate the best in the industry. Across event professionals, across media planners, these people are going to fill the room, and we are going to applaud their success and everything they're doing for the future, which is a lot. They are changing the game with these events. They're building communities. They're building businesses. They're driving news. They're driving positive outcomes. They're hosting incredible events like this in their city or their hotel. These are the change makers in our industry. But why am I sitting here on the stage? We have stuff going on outside. There's a red carpet. Follow me.
Some people get, some content creators and event marketing professionals get so tied up in it being shot on this $7,000 setup here, or Carter, who's in the back right now shooting for us. He's got his rig. Some people think, we only have to we have to do it on this. It has to be beautiful and styled and colored and really amazing. But it was shot on this, and it was just as engaging, right? And I'm not saying it's either or. I'm saying it doesn't matter. It matters if the content is boring or inspiring. Is it funny? Is it relatable? Is it engaging? Did you feel the emotion of those people on the red carpet? Yes. That has nothing to do with this. It has everything to do with getting the host to say why we're here. We're celebrating people. Let's go look at the red carpet. And we could have made a recap that was just audio and the red carpet. I just don't think you would have connected with it as much. Let me give you another example. I'm not going to do this one. It's a little bit longer. I'm going to play a short example of it.
We are going to ask, what is the best piece of advice that impacts how you lead today? Let's go.
There is growth and discomfort. And so I think about that all the time. I put myself out there to encourage my team to also stretch themselves a lot.
When I think about the events industry, I've always told my staff, think ahead. So if you know who your event planner is, think about what's coming next and how you can help.
Just for time, I'm going to move past it, but we just ask questions like, hey, what have you learned as a leader? Like, who in the event industry has taught you something? Again, relatable humans telling their story. Almost none of these videos are about Cvent and the products and the technology that they're offering. It's about the human connection, and we're talking a lot about AI at this event, right? But they also said in the opening video, it's about human connection. And too many events are creating content that's all about the products and the services that you're offering the world, and people don't care about that. They care about how you make them feel. And that is the content that you should be creating for your social. There are times when we do take a big camera like this and we make a recap of a moment. This was from the first day. You might have seen this on Instagram. But the key thing is that we wanted to use words to overpower the production value of this video.
If you use Cvent, Cvent Connect is where you level up. It's where you get efficient with the tech you already love and get hands-on with the brand new features you didn't even know you need. You'll meet other marketers and planners who get it, swap ideas, and pick up skills that make your work better and your life easier. So, grab your badge, find your people, and let's grow together.
Yes, that was my voice. I'm sorry. I forgot. Wasn't trying to highlight my voiceover, but shot it with this little microphone down in our studio and just recorded it quickly. Did anybody hear the emphasis? What was the word that was repeated the most in the whole script? No? All the big brands do this the best. They talk about who? You. The word you is in there like 6 times. Cvent was at the very beginning. It's like, if you're a Cvent, your life, easier. Grab your badge. You connect. The whole thing was targeting you and your experience, not what Cvent is. So Cvent was what we're going to get into in a couple minutes if I don't run out of time from showing you all this fun content. Cvent is the guide to the happiness and the success of the attendee. Cvent is not the hero of any story we create for Cvent or any event we work for. I will argue, I'll walk out the door almost if you're like, no, we want to be everybody needs to know everything we do. No, they don't. They don't care. They want to know how you're going to make them feel. And so all the content we create, almost all the content create is putting the attendee, who is ultimately the hero of their story, that we want them to be the hero of their story. And Cvent, the brand, you're the guide to helping your attendees in person feel strong, on social media feel strong, and all of your marketing efforts, you want your attendee to feel strong. No matter what content you're creating, whether that is for social media or if that's for an internal Slack video you're posting about how much fun you had. Your goal of creating content is to make the person who's watching it feel heard, strong, happy, motivated to do something about their life and improve their work or their role back at home. Okay, I'll show you this last one. This is the very last one. So you saw the one that was shot on this, right, at the beginning. It was the outfits. Here's a pro version of the same experience last night, and we had to thread a needle because there are words. There are words. You'll see in just a second. Let me just shut up and let you watch it. See what you think. We accomplished a couple of things with that video. We accomplished the human emotion. We accomplished words. Here we come. You can't run, but you can't hide. Like, it was that feeling of like strength that the attendees hopefully were feeling. If you could hear the words, I don't know if you could hear the words of the song, but we were trying to match the lyrics of the song with what that attendee might feel in that moment. Like, here we come, getting off the bus. That's what we were trying to match. And we picked all of it in real time. Like, I picked that while I was at the event. I picked the song and I sent it to our editor and I was like, hey, this is it. Because we look at what we do as much journalism and storytelling as we do content creation. Like, that's almost an ad level video, but we're doing it through the lens of a journalist, because I waited till I got in the room to say, all right, let's picture. What does this feel like? What are people doing? Are they hot? Anybody there last night? Whew. I was inside for like no more than 10 minutes, and then I was out where the wind was blowing, but how were people feeling? Were they confident? Were they happy? Were they drinking? Were they having fun? Yes. And so we tried to pick music that matched that. We also had sponsor placement in there. Did you see it? Clarity? You're welcome. Hard Rock. Visit San Antonio at the end. But was that the emphasis of the video? No. What was the emphasis? The human emotion of people experiencing it, having fun. Too many brands just would have made a video that said, party powered by clarity or something like that, and it just had clarity. And if you want to serve your sponsors well, put the human emotion at the front and just subtly place the brand as necessary. We do this for NASCAR all the time. Bass Pro. Anybody been to good old Bass Pro? Okay, so we do Bristol Motor Speedway, and we create their sales videos that go on social. But really what they do is they take that sales video and they hand it to the marketing director at Bass Pro. And Bass Pro they're smart enough to know they don't really care that their logo, that everything in there is Bass Pro. They want to see happy people. Because if their brand is associated with happy people drinking and having fun and going to NASCAR races and saying, hell yeah, like Bass Pro is going to be happy with their investment. And so you don't have to put sponsored content at the front and center of your content. Just want to remember that. Okay. Now that I only have 20 minutes left, I should get into the actual things I want to help you with. And maybe we can set up a call afterwards if I don't get through all of it. So if there's anything I want you to leave here with, it's examples of good content, but I want you to leave here with this as your mantra when you walk out the door. The enemy is boring content. And thank you, ChatGPT, for helping me out. I just said, hey, would you make me some mad people? Let's put an end to boring content. Then I said, can you put these protesters in a hot Texas city? And this is what I got. I wish I was kidding. So we're going to end boring content. I want you, this is what you're doing. I want to speak into event planners and event professionals right now. You're investing a ton of money into your in-person or virtual experiences. A ton of money. Most of you are spending 6 figures on your in-person experiences. My pushback, and if you were in a sales meeting with me, I'm just going to say to you, if you're doing that and you are not spending 5 figures, or sometimes 6 figures, but 5 figures on your content and your amplification of those moments, you need to reconsider your priorities. I know there's a lot of context to that. I know your budgets are tight. But if you are spending a lot of money on something to make it feel so good in person, and for the people who aren't there, why would they want to come if they look at social media and it's just flat and it's boring and it's corporate and it's sponsored? Or the people that are there, what if you could remind them when they're at their hotel that night, scrolling their phone, and then they're like, oh yeah, this is why I came to this event. Oh man, that was so much fun. Or when they wake up in the morning and they see the party, the disco from last night, and they wake up in the morning, they're scrolling it, you're re-emphasizing the value in the human experience. You have just spent tens of thousands of dollars to create for them. Why not spend appropriate energy and resources and the right people and gear to create content that reminds them of, man, that was a good investment. Man, I'm glad I showed up and I didn't go to this other conference, this other meeting. If you are spending a lot of money and time and resources, you should be taking very seriously how your content is and not just handing it, no offense to interns if you're in the room, and not just handing a phone to an intern and saying, hey, go post on TikTok and LinkedIn and Instagram. It happens all the time. We meet with so many people. We're in the trade show right now. Melissa and Brad on our team are down there. You know what we've already heard? well, we just have this one kid that does it, and we need some help. I hear that all the time. There's nothing wrong with kids. They know the platform's probably better than some of us, but what they don't know, they don't have the experience to understand human emotion and understand messaging at the level that you do at your place in your brand and in your organization. So I want you to put an end to boring content. And when I talk about content, I'm going to make a very quick distinguishing thing here. I'm not talking about necessarily the graphics and the things, the slides that are on your screens. I'm specifically talking about the content that you're using for social media today. But I'm also talking about some of these social media pieces can be used in your sales collateral down the road, right? You can use them in your email campaigns and your website. But when I say content, what I'm mostly referring to is fun, happy pictures of people experiencing your event, speaker quotes that are inspiring, that will get shared tens and hundreds and maybe thousands of times, graphics that are interesting, and behind the scenes content. We call it access. Give your fans access that they wouldn't have gotten if they weren't following you on social. So again, my mission today is to help you end boring content. Here's the thing. Platforms, they are doing one thing, and they are inviting you to connect with your audiences. They're giving you the tools. They're giving you the data. If you don't follow him, follow Adam Mosseri, the CEO of Instagram, however you say his name. If you don't follow him, he every week does this thing where he says, ask me anything about the platform. Ask me anything, I'll tell you everything. And so he does a series on Instagram where he just answers your questions. The platforms are getting much better at really just saying, hey, here's how the algorithm works. They want you to create content that invites emotional connection to bring your fans closer in to engage more, because what? They make more money when your fans are on the platform and engaging with you. And so they're giving us the tools and the resources and the smarts, if you will, the knowledge to do a better job with content. They're inviting you to do this. So let's take up that. So if the enemy is boring content, then the solution is emotionally intelligent content. I know I talked about email just a second ago, but I want to be clear about this. Attendees are not connecting with your brand emotionally over text or email blasts. But the best brands in the world, you can go scroll them on social, they are connecting with their fans on social media in personal and emotional ways during the event. You're not lazy with your on-stage, in-person content, so don't be lazy with your social media content. I have a couple questions for you. What if your content could connect with your audience in a way that amplifies your event impact? And what if your content could deepen your audience's sense of trust and loyalty, which we know increases ROI? Here are some examples of boring content. Uninspiring, unrelatable, salesy, brand-focused, sponsor-focused, informational. Oh man, this one's a tough one because every event loves to share their schedule on. I'm so glad Cvent's not doing it. But so many events like to share their schedule and what's coming up next on Instagram. Who is going to Instagram right now to look for their schedule for the day? Nobody. If they're going to the app or they're looking at a sign. So stop posting your schedule and informational things like that. Use your text message push notifications and your app to do it. Get that kind of information off social. If it doesn't hit the mark of emotional connection in some way, I would almost always say it's not for social. It's just not for it. Put it somewhere else. This is a tough one too. Excessive user-generated content. I know a lot of brands. Have you ever gone to I'm using Instagram a lot, so forgive me here. Have you ever gone to a story and the little dots at the top, they're like 400. I mean, you can't even see the dots anymore. They're pixels now. And you're looking at the top of the Instagram. Everybody know what I'm talking about? And you're like, I'm not going to watch that story. And I love it because the brand is trying to be nice. They're trying to share everybody's story. The problem is it's part of the human condition. I don't care necessarily what everybody felt like at that event. I care how does it make me feel and what is the event doing for me. And so most of you probably like me, if you see a bunch of dots at the top of Instagram, you're just, and guess who that hurts? It hurts not only you, the brand who's creating the content, but also hurts the opportunity. It basically stops the opportunity for you to connect with them. Because what if on the 17th story, after you shared 16 people's stories, what if that one was a really powerful disco rodeo video, but everybody missed it who doesn't like to look at all those stories. So you have to be careful with user-generated content. You have to be very careful with it. And an overemphasis on aesthetics, meaning showing too much of, ooh, look how cool our event is, look how beautiful it looks, look at our stage, look at our, no, you need to be focused on the words that are advancing people's careers and their lives. For whatever reason they're attending your event, you need to think about that and amplify those stories, not just, the lobby out here looks great, right? But we're not gonna go make a bunch of videos for Cvent highlighting the lobby. We're gonna highlight the faces and the people that are experiencing things and how their transformation is taking place during the event. The solution is emotionally intelligent content that puts the attendee at the front and center and evokes feelings, thoughts, and actions. I want to give you these 3 words. You can take photos of it. We can talk about it later, whatever you want. But empathy, this is what I want you to be thinking about. Empathy, understanding your audience's desires. I wish I could underline and circle this one. Their pain points and their interest. People show up at Cvent because they had some kind of a problem and they needed a solution. And in that first video I showed you that I was my voiceover, like we were trying to highlight gently some pain points that they are helping you solve. If you have an event and people are paying money to be there, I can almost guarantee you they showed up because you solved a problem that they felt. That people transact when you solve a problem. People would not be Cvent customers if Cvent didn't know how they were feeling and they were frustrated at their computer and they couldn't set up an event website, and Cvent was the empathetic guide. And so we try to make sure our content hits that, dances around the pain point. You don't want to just say, hey, your life sucks, but you do want to say, hey, tired of being frustrated and overwhelmed? Come over here to this experience or this session that we have. So it's making sure you keep the pain point kind of front and center when you can. Authenticity, presenting real, relatable stories or moments from your event, and relevance, aligning with what's trending or what matters to your audience. Here are some examples of emotionally intelligent content: funny moments, powerful quotes, behind the scenes. Circle that, just circle that. Behind the scenes, give people access. Have a social host. Some of the content we've been creating, I didn't play it, but we had a social host that was guiding the audience towards the outcome of the content we were trying to create. We're doing one today with the Do Good that's happening here at Cvent, where a host is going to take us around to show the things that Cvent is doing good for the community and for San Antonio. Attendee testimonials. Oh man, I could have a whole session on this. At your events, you have people who had a problem and felt bad, and you showed up, your event showed up to solve that. Or for Cvent, for example, Cvent showed up with solutions that made frustrated people happy. They are in this building, thousands of them. Cvent should be, and I know they are, and you should be for your event, capturing as many of those stories as you can, because guess what? It's going to be 362 days before you have them back. You should be capturing testimonials like crazy at your event. You should invest in that probably over making Instagram Reels, if you want me to be honest with you. You should capture attendee stories as much as you can, and I'm going to hopefully give you the 4 questions we ask that are psychology first questions that help your attendees answer questions and really brag on you here in a second. Access to VIP speakers, activations and giveaways, questions and engagement. And we'll save questions here in just a minute. I'm going to be a little bit, it's not self-serving, but I mentioned my son at the beginning. He's 9 years old. We went to a March Madness basketball game in March, and it was Auburn versus Tennessee. Anybody understand the SEC or rivals in sports? Okay. Rivals create like just the biggest tension and the most drama, and it's just stupid, right? Like, really, you have no influence on the outcome of this game or what's happening, but you're just going to get angry at the other person because of a comment they left on social media. This video I posted, I'm going to give you some examples of what made it viral, I think. This video, I only have a couple thousand followers, nothing big at all, not a big deal. This video has over 360,000 views. And it's because it had some of the elements that I think are human connection and words and tension and pain points. And I'm going to just play this video because it's still interesting to this day that this video did so well on the internet. But let's watch it real quick, and then I'll point out some things that I saw that helped it go viral. Okay, so I'm gonna pause it real quick, and I want you to maybe see if you can point out some of the things that happened that were interesting. Let me fast forward it just a hair, so you can. I'm gonna leave it on a particular moment here, right here, that guy's face, and then this girl's face right here. She actually smiles in a second, but did you see the beginning of the text? And if the beginning of the screen, my 9-year-old, did you see what it said? 20? Passing out. Okay, so here's the context. If you're not a Tennessee Vols fan or an SEC fan or basketball fan, it's not going to make sense to you. But if you're in that space and you're like, wait a second, that Auburn kid is handing out Tennessee pom-poms to the other fans, like to spread the love, like what is going on? And then the Tennessee fans are over there going, yeah, thank you. And they're like smiling. And it was just this really beautiful moment that made I don't know why, but it's got 360,000 views. It exploded. I have hardly any following at all. And it just exploded. And it's because it had that almost supernatural human connection, right? Literally like weird kindness. And it was a 9-year-old, it was a kid. So it was interesting that it was a kid. And he was wearing the other team's outfit. And he's going up and being nice to the other team and handing out pom-poms. And you have all this collision of moments here. Cute kid, tension of rivalries, shocking act of kindness, feels organic, not fake, natural reactions from fans, the use of Rocky Top I specifically did. So I put the other team's fight song, not Auburn's fight song. So it worked to kind of lean into their, if you know a fight song, you get excited about it, and the use of text to explain. So my point is, there's almost no magic involved in that other than me seeing a moment that was happening and going, hey, human emotion, this is going to do well on the internet. Never would have guessed it would get more than 1,000 or 2,000 views. And then to this day, I still get notifications every single day of people engaging with that piece of content because it's not about the gear. Sorry, Max, I know you're in here right now. It's not about the gear you shoot on. It's important and it helps in some circumstances depending on your objective of your marketing. But it's not about the gear that you shoot on. It's about the human connection and the words that you use to help the audience see and feel the content. That is what drives content further on the internet, not the quality, but not the quality of the technology, but the quality of the messaging. I'm going to keep going because I'm out of time now. So this is basically, I'm going to tell you this, and then I would love to talk to you afterwards if you want to set up a session to go through this, or just go read this book. It's Building a StoryBrand by Donald Miller. Anybody read it? Awesome. 2, 3 of you. This is the most foundational book to our business and our success in the last 10 years. Donald Miller wrote Building a StoryBrand. He's on 2.0. He just sold the 1 millionth copy. It is all about human communication and how the story framework works in the human brain. And we use it all the time at events because people want to know that you understand the problems they're facing and how you're going to help navigate them around those problems. And you're probably like, I can't put that in every one of my event videos. You can't. You're right. But if you learn to think this way, you will not put out boring content anymore. You will remember that the human brain pays attention to the things that help you get ahead, you feel better. Whether that's happiness, laying on your phone, scrolling, like, what do you call it? Not doom scrolling, but vegging out. What's the word? What's it? Just brain rotting. Sure, yeah, you're just sitting there. That's not the one I was looking for, but that's basically what's happening. If you're just sitting there scrolling and scrolling, there's something happening inside of you, whether it's just relaxing you or whether it's making you feel good. There's all kinds of chemicals happening in your brain at that time. But you need to understand why people consume your content, and really it's about psychology. And when I say psychology, I go back to human emotion and the words. And I'm going to leave you with this before we go into a question answer. When we do the testimonials, basically the first 3 boxes on the left is what I ask questions about. And you can take a picture of it, but you need to read the book. There's a line at the bottom that says aspirations across the bottom from A to B. Everybody, every single day, wants to go from A to B about something in their life. If they're here at Cvent, they probably want to be a better event professional. And I want to go from A, which is weak or uneducated or uninformed about a certain thing. I'm untrained. And I want to go to B or Z. I want to go to trained, educated, informed. If you're unhealthy or if you're wanting to lose weight or something, you want to go from I have this and I want to go to this. If you're sick and you have something, I'm sick and I want to go to this. Every day you wake up, you're walking through just constant stories of transformation in your mind. You want to go from this to this. I'm thirsty, I want water. I need coffee, I'm tired, I need coffee. Your world is made up of transformational stories every single day. And so StoryBrand teaches you how to understand that when it comes to humans and the content you're creating. And so we have to understand first, why did people show up to Cvent? And number two, what do they want? The character, the attendee, they want something. And I just don't have time to go fully into it. But then there's a problem that they're facing. And that problem makes them feel something. And the problem is usually, I don't know where to find that tool. I don't know who to talk to that will help me get there. They're facing a problem that's keeping them from getting that want or that transformation. And we have to use words and stories that help them know that we see that problem they're facing. And then finally, this is where your brand shows up in the content. After you've talked about what the transformation is they're looking for, what the want is that they have, what the problem is, hello, we are your trustworthy guide to help you solve that problem. We are Cvent, or we are your event, or we are RVRB. We help you solve that problem. But so many brands, so many events put that guide part at the front. And the human brain just turns off when you start talking about yourself as the brand. But if you put the human first and the emotion first and the words first that are talking about them, then all of a sudden you've got their attention and you can just say, hey, I feel you. Let's talk, I can help you. That is where content really gets powerful for you and for your brand. Okay, I'm gonna leave just a couple minutes for Q&A. And if you have any questions, if not, I'm gonna put a QR code up here on the end. And if you wanna set up a time with me, I would love to chat with you. Yes, go ahead.
So you were talking about an instance in which you went to the event
Mm-hmm.
and you thought about last night when you looked into the room and you thought about the song.
Yeah.
How do you really source that? Like, what is the process? Because I work in the luxury space
Mm-hmm.
in my personal business, and then in my professional world, we also do some level of how do you make that connection?
Like, how do you make the connection, like sensing the room and what's going on? Or what platform do I use?
Maybe a little bit of both.
Okay. So because the foundation of everything I do is words, I'm going to the platform to search for two things. Music Bed is what we use. We use several platforms, but I go to the platform and I look for the mood. Okay. Is it chill? Is it country? Is it R&B? Is it blues? I'm looking for like the vibe. And then I'm searching for words and things and I'll go through 10 songs, and until that one song was You Can Run But You Can't Hide, like Here I Come, whatever it is, I was like, oh yeah, that's it. That's people walking on that door. That's their state of mind. And so I'm looking for mood and then words. And I won't include words on a video if there's words from like a speaker or a VO. I'm just always wanting to have words at some level, either through the song or but so it takes me a while to find that song. I mean, 30 minutes. But once you do an event over and over again, you kind of know what your people are looking for, so you can do that before the event starts. Have a list of 10 songs, and then go back to them and say, tonight was like this. Where the first video on Monday, was more about learning. It wasn't about a party. So the words I would be looking for in that, if I didn't have a voiceover, I would be looking for words of like, let's go, I'm ready to tackle the day. I don't know. Something that's more about self-motivation words. Good question. I'll go back here to you. And if you need to leave, you can leave as well.
You mentioned you had 4 questions.
Yeah. Yep. Number 1. So if I'm in, what's your name?
Margo,
What's your name?
Events by Margo.
Hey, events by Margo. Hey, this is what I would ask you. You would be on camera. I'd be like this. Margo, before coming to Cvent, what did you want? What were you trying? You were trying to go from what to what? Like, tell me about your journey. Are you a new event planner? But like, tell me where you wanted. I used the word want. Wasn't the right word. Tell me about where you're at. Like, before you ever came to Cvent, were you like, did you not have the right tools and the resources? And what were you looking for when you came here? And you would probably say, oh man, I didn't know where to start. But I needed to grow my business. That's the aspiration. I needed to grow my business. So I'm looking for that moment. Number 2 is, okay, what did you need or what did you want? I wanted the technology that Cvent had. So your deepest desire was not technology. Your deepest desire was business success. So I want to see what is your personal desire, and then, well, what does Cvent offer that you might be able to pull out of it? Like, what's the want? What's the product? And then, okay, well, before you found that technology at Cvent, how did you feel when you were back at home? And you'd be like, I was so frustrated. Like, I was in front of the computer, I was losing clients. And so I'm asking, how did it make you feel? What was the problem? And then the last question is, okay, Margot, now that you've been at Cvent for blank number of times, how do you feel now? And usually Margot will just brag on Cvent at that point. So what was the aspiration personally? What was the want that Cvent had, the product they had? How were you feeling? What was the problem? And then now how do you feel about Cvent? But really, how do you feel about your life now that you've been here? And those 4 questions, I ask them all over the world hundreds of times, maybe thousands of times a year. Those 4 questions. Yes, ma'am.
Multi-generational audience, best platform, and how are you reaching the 30-something?
Yeah, it's a tough question that we would have to go into deep with your audience, but it's like finding where the fish are swimming. Like, do these fish swim in this pond, or do they cross over into brackish water, salt water, and fresh water? Like, you got to find out. Usually Instagram and LinkedIn are safest for every event. And I would say for Cvent, you might lean LinkedIn, or for some technology events, you might lean LinkedIn. But every event we work across the globe, Instagram is still right now the king. TikTok might lean towards a student conference or something that's like music festivals, maybe TikTok. But if you're in any professional environment, I would lean towards Instagram and LinkedIn. Good question. Yeah, I don't know what your question was. I think I know where you're going with that. Sometimes you can place the same content on both platforms, but you have to be careful with that. I'm always like, maybe. So you might need to edit this one a little bit to be a little more focused towards the Instagram platform. And I want to say this one little nugget. It doesn't matter how long or short your content is. If you were to ask me the next question, Clark, how long should my videos be? Or how I need to make them 15 seconds, right? I would say no. That's not the question. The question is only, is it boring or is it interesting? The internet doesn't care. Like, the video of my son was like 15 seconds long, but I watched a 3-minute video last night about a horse that was interesting. I swear to you, I watched a 3-minute video about a horse, and I was like, I can't stop watching it because I want to see what happens with this horse. And is it boring or is it interesting? That's the only question. And so then you dig down into which audience is it? Is it 35-year-olds or 15-year-olds? Like, then you start asking platform questions after that. One more. Yes, ma'am.
We're capturing a lot of content from the videos that we're doing. What is your advice in terms of, okay, now we have a lot of content to share. What's the best content to share? How often to share a day to let one sit and take off and react?
So I don't know if this fully answers your question, but before your event, you want to try to gas the algorithm a little bit. If you know you're going to create a bunch of content or have a bunch of content, you don't want to wait until the day one of your event and start posting content. So if you can prime it, is what I was looking for. Prime your algorithm with some fun, interesting, emotionally intelligent content before the event, then it gives you space to create and produce more content during it. But the right answer comes back to the fish in the water. Like, how hungry are they? If you see that your content is just consuming, or they're consuming it and engaging with it, then post more. For us, a lot of time it comes back to capacity of the team. Like, how much does a team of 4, how much are they able to do that's good and emotionally intelligent and engaging to the fans? If they can only produce 2 or 3 a day, then 2 or 3 a day. Just because I have tons of B-roll doesn't mean I need to put it all online. And it kind of comes back to the answer I just gave her. Is it interesting or is it boring? And if you can produce 10 pieces of interesting content a day, do all 10. And so that's a capacity question. I hear you. How much is right? It depends on your team. It depends on the audience and how hungry they are for good content. It depends on, was your Instagram account off for a year and all of a sudden you turned it back on? It's going to take a while to get that re-engaged. Does that help at all? Yeah. Okay. That's a good question. One more. I said one more. Anything online? We're good? Okay. One more question. Anybody? Yes, ma'am. Oh, the one question I was hoping to hear about leadership.
Well, and how do we that all the brands don't have to be on the video or the socials all the time?
Yeah. It's going to be a journey. And do they trust you? I come back to the StoryBrand framework for that question, honestly. When I go into that conversation with leadership, I'm going to say, hey, leader, Mr. or Mrs., what are you wanting? And listen to them. Are they wanting more ticket sales and more revenue? And then you go, okay, I hear you. I think I know some ways to do it. What's the problem? Why haven't we gotten there before? And they might say, well, we've been doing it this way. Or you might be able to say, well, the problem is we've done it this way and it didn't produce what you wanted. And so you talk about the problem that leader is feeling, because that leader's probably thinking about different things from you. They're not thinking about what you just described to me, the types of content you should create. You want to find out what the leader wants. And then hopefully if you go through that psychology framework, the leader will then go, okay, I'm listening to you. What kind of ideas do you have? What should we do different? And so if you start it with, here's what I want to do, it usually doesn't work. That's what I found. So with clients, I'll say, okay, what do you want to feel as a leader? Like, are you trying to not impress your colleagues, but are you trying to increase your revenue so you maintain your job or your role? Like, ask them what they want and then help them figure out how to get that. That's what I do. It's less about the cameras and the platforms and the money. It's more about helping them achieve their business objectives as a leader. Does that make a little bit of sense? Okay, thank you all so much. Thank you. Appreciate it. If you have any questions, come up here and see me. I'll take the mic off and we can talk. But I'll put my QR code back up there. Of course I will. There it is.